The series begins with Wednesday, tone about the triviality of high schools, which she sees as nothing more than a place that gathers teenagers under the supervision of adults. While she's talking, Wednesday appears in her usual all-black outfit, which she never changes. She opens her closet, only to find her younger brother tied up and gagged inside. She tries to free him, but the moment she touches him, she's struck by a vision that reveals what happened without a single word spoken. She realizes that a group of bullies was behind it. Without hesitation, she storms off to the swimming pool where those students are training and tosses in 2 bags full of vicious fish, leaving them with severe injuries. From that incident onward, her parents decide to send her to Nevermore Academy, the same school they once attended, a haven for outcasts and those with peculiar abilities. On the way there, she tries to convince her mother that she will never become her copy, insisting that they had been waiting for any excuse to ship her off to this school. But her mother urges her not to run away again. Meanwhile, not far from the woods surrounding Nevermore, a young camper sets up his tent despite the villagers warning him about the monsters lurking in the forest that would eat him alive. Wednesday finally arrives at the academy, where she's greeted by Principal Larissa, who informs her that she will be staying in the very same dorm her mother once did. In her new quarters, she meets her roommate, a werewolf girl, who takes her on a tour of the school, introducing her to the various cliques of vampires, werewolves, and students with strange powers. Later, one student warns her about her new roommate, claiming that she killed 2 of her friends and ate them. Wednesday, unfazed, responds with chilling calmness, saying she does indeed chop up corpses, but only to feed them to her pets. Terrified, the boy runs away. After that, Wednesday says goodbye to her parents, though she immediately begins plotting her escape. Her father secretly assigns a severed hand, Thing, to watch over her and report back on her actions. When Wednesday returns to her room, she repaints half of it in stark black and white. Wednesday roams the school grounds, where she witnesses Bianca bullying her classmate Rowan during a fencing match. Wednesday steps in, challenging Bianca and mocking her self-proclaimed title as Queen Bee, retorting that bees die after they sting. The duel grows heated and ends in a tie. But Wednesday proposes a second round, this time without masks, where victory goes to the one who draws first blood. Unfortunately for her, Wednesday is the first to be struck, leaving her disappointed. On her way back from the infirmary, a massive statue suddenly crashes down toward her from the top of the building. She narrowly survives thanks to a student named Xavier, who reminds her that they met in childhood when she rescued him after he got trapped inside a coffin. Saving her now, he says, is simply paying her back. Meanwhile, in the forest, Detective Galvin and his deputy investigate the brutal murder of the camper, whose body was found torn to pieces. Though Galvin tells the press it was the work of a wild bear, he knows the truth hides something much darker, tied to Nevermore Academy. Back at school, Wednesday strikes a deal with the severed hand, Thing. Either it stays locked in her desk drawer for the rest of the year, or it swears complete loyalty to her. Thing pledges allegiance. The next day, Wednesday visits a local therapist in town, hoping to use this session as a chance to escape. Principal Larissa personally escorts her, to make sure she doesn't. In the doctor's office, Wednesday excuses herself to the bathroom, where she uses a nail file to pick the window lock and flee. On her way out, she stumbles upon a vegetable truck driver who's just been killed in a grisly accident. Terrified, she runs off and ducks into a nearby diner. There, she orders a coffee with meticulous specifications, only to find the machine broken with instructions written in Italian. She reads the note, fixes the machine, and strikes a deal with the worker, Tyler. He'll get her coffee if he calls a cab for her. Tyler explains, there are no taxis available, but offers to give her a ride himself in an hour. Wednesday refuses to wait. As she sits, 3 hostile local teens barge in, recognizing her as a Nevermore student. They attack, but she single-handedly defeats them. At that moment, Sheriff Galvin Tyler's father arrives and witnesses the scene. Shocked by her skill, he demands her name. When she replies, "Wednesday Addams," he warns her that her father, Gomez Addams, is a murder suspect, and vows that one day he will arrest him. Principal Larissa escorts Wednesday back, warning her not to dwell on her father's past, insisting it would be wiser to seek friendships instead of stirring up rivalries. On the ride back with her parents, they pass by the vegetable truck driver who had previously died in the accident. Wednesday burns inside at the sight, but keeps moving forward. Once at school, she asks Enid to teach her how to use a computer in exchange for restoring color to the room. Enid agrees. Meanwhile, Wednesday sends Thing to Tyler's house, making him dial her number written on his hand. She then asks Tyler to pick her up at the train station on Halloween night, as they'd planned. Tyler agrees, admitting he's intrigued by her strange personality and eager to help her escape. When Halloween arrives, Wednesday attends the school festival with Tyler, all under the watchful eyes of Principal Larissa. She bribes one of the game attendants to distract the principal, then slips away to meet Tyler. But suddenly, the 3 hostile teens from the diner reappear. Tyler urges Wednesday to run while he holds them off. As she flees, she collides with Rowan, and a vision shocks her. She sees his death. In the vision, Rowan walks toward the forest, and she dashes after him, desperate to stop it from happening. But Rowan turns on her, using his telekinetic powers to lift her into the air and choke her. He declares she must die because she will be the downfall of the school, showing her an image of her face from a prophetic book. Wednesday mocks him, asking if he's really ready to kill her over a picture. Rowan replies that his mother, a seer, predicted her arrival and warned him to kill her before. She brought ruin upon them all. Suddenly, a monstrous creature emerges from the shadows and kills Rowan before her eyes. When Wednesday reports it, the police find no body after hours of searching. She realizes someone is covering up the crime. Even worse, Rowan reappears the next day as if nothing happened, leading everyone at school to brand Wednesday as delusional. The next day, Principal Larissa expels Rowan for unclear reasons and punishes Wednesday by banning her from school activities. But Wednesday refuses to give up, chasing any lead to uncover the truth. Thing later reports spotting Rowan, so Wednesday tries confronting him, but he ignores her. Principal Larissa herself sends Rowan off to the train station, unaware that Thing has sneaked into the car to follow. There, Rowan enters the restroom but emerges minutes later with a completely different appearance, leaving his bag behind. Thing discovers the shapeshifter is none other than Principal Larissa herself, hiding a dark secret and covering up Rowan's death. Determined, Wednesday searches for the prophetic book she saw in her vision, the one showing her destroying the school. She fails to find it in the library, where Miss Gates notices her and offers to help anytime she needs. Later, at the therapist's office, Wednesday bumps into Tyler, forced into sessions by his father as well. She asks him if he thinks she's crazy, like everyone else does. He tells her he believes her. For the first time, Wednesday feels what it's like to have someone truly on her side. At school, Wednesday sneaks with Thing into Xavier's room, where she discovers a drawing of herself in his sketchbook, a clear sign of his interest in her. She hides under the bed when he suddenly enters, followed shortly by Bianca, who confronts him angrily. How could he possibly like Wednesday? And what makes her so special? Bianca vows to destroy Wednesday and sabotage her friendship with Enid, wishing she and her friends had never come to the school. When Xavier asks why she harbors such hatred, Bianca replies that Wednesday acts as if she's better than everyone else, then storms out. Back in her room, Wednesday finds Enid crying after being tormented by Bianca. She comforts her and promises revenge. Enid asks Wednesday to join her team for the annual boat race, explaining that Bianca's team always wins thanks to her being a siren, able to manipulate the water. Determined to break Bianca's winning streak, Wednesday agrees to join. The Black Cat's team, the very same group her mother once competed with in her youth. Before the race, Wednesday visits the crime scene to confirm Rowan's death. There she spots Sheriff Galvin searching the woods as well, forcing her to hide. Suddenly, Tyler appears and helps her, explaining that the sheriff's dog didn't track her scent because he was carrying a bag of coffee beans, which confuses dogs. Together, they search for clues until Wednesday finds Rowan's glasses, proof that her vision was real. The race begins, with Bianca secretly plotting with a friend outside, the competition to sink rival boats. But Wednesday had anticipated this, equipping her team's boat with a protective net. She steers with skill, dodging Bianca's tricks until they reach the island. Wednesday disembarks to retrieve the flag while Enid guards the boat. On the island, the world suddenly shifts before Wednesday's eyes, turning into a strange vision where she sees a girl who looks just like her, holding a mysterious book. She collapses, only to awaken to Bianca's mocking voice. Wednesday snatches the flag quickly and hurries back to the boat, determined to turn the tide of the race. During the boat race, Enid manages to sabotage the jesters. Boat Savior's team leading only Bianca's team and Wednesday's team in the competition. Wednesday uses the mounted weapon on her boat to strike Bianca's vessel, but another siren suddenly appears and pushes Wednesday's boat off course. At that moment, Thing leaps into the water and wrestles the siren away, allowing Wednesday to destroy Bianca's boat. For the first time in years, the Black Cats claim victory. Principal Larissa congratulates Wednesday on her success, reminding her that her mother once led the team to its very first win, while Larissa herself served as her assistant. But for Wednesday, victory isn't about legacy. The real satisfaction was teaching Bianca a lesson. Later, Wednesday sits before the statue of a famous writer and notices the same symbols she had seen in Rowan's prophetic drawings. That night, she returns to the statue, studies the inscription on its hand, and realizes it's a riddle. Solving it reveals a password that opens a hidden library. Inside, she discovers that this place once belonged to the secret society Nightshade. Among the many books, she finds the one with the torn prophecy page. But before she can examine it further, she's attacked by an unknown figure and blacks out. When she wakes, Wednesday is surrounded by a group of masked students. Among their voices, she recognizes Bianca, who suggests they decide what to do with her. Xavier proposes they save face by making her swear an oath and join them. But Wednesday refuses, declaring she's not interested in the slightest. When Bianca orders Xavier to untie her, Wednesday reveals she'd freed herself 5 minutes earlier. Before leaving, she tells them they're a disgrace to the very idea of abduction, then walks away. Back in her room, Wednesday studies the book and uncovers the complete image. It depicts her standing opposite a leader of the Pilgrim fanatics, men once dedicated to burning witches and killing outcasts. The next day, the town hosts a festival meant to unite the outcasts with the normies. Students are assigned different posts to help the townsfolk. Wednesday is given a shift at the old museum, but she convinces Enid to swap so she can be stationed at the Pilgrim's house. There, she sneaks into their meeting hall and finds the very same book she saw in her vision. But it's a fake. Its pages blank. On the wall, she sees a painting of the hall itself, featuring the pilgrim leader, Joseph. Wednesday asks Tyler to show her where Joseph's house once stood in the woods, though Xavier grows jealous when he sees the two together. At the abandoned house Tyler described, Wednesday touches the door, and a new vision overwhelms her. She sees another version of herself, Goody Addams, accused of witchcraft and thrown in with other imprisoned outcasts. Goody's mother begs her to escape and avenge them. As Goody tries to flee, Joseph appears, setting the house ablaze and burning everyone inside. When Wednesday regains her senses, she realizes the truth. Goody Addams was one of her ancestors from over 2 centuries ago, and Joseph, the town's mayor, was a ruthless enemy of all outcasts. At that moment, Wednesday spots a monster watching her from behind the wooden boards. It bolts away, leaving behind both human footprints and clawed tracks. She realizes the creature is, in fact, a human capable of transforming. Suddenly, Xavier appears and asks what she's doing there. She confides in him, recounting everything she has seen. He tries to convince her that her visions are emotional rather than logical. But Wednesday insists Rowan was right, that a great danger is approaching. Xavier then admits he had texted Rowan, inviting him to go ice skating as they had the year before. But Rowan replied that he couldn't even, though they had never gone skating together at all. This confirms for Xavier that something truly strange happened to Rowan. Together, they return to town, where a statue of its founder is being unveiled, Joseph Crackstone himself, the man responsible for burning outcasts. Wednesday is appalled that Principal Larissa would attend a ceremony honoring their greatest enemy. So, with Thing's help, she decides to destroy the statue. Thing pours gasoline into the fountain surrounding it and ignites it from a distance, setting the monument ablaze before the entire crowd. Principal Larissa immediately realizes Wednesday is behind the stunt, and Wednesday openly admits it. When she demands the truth about Crackstone, the principal refuses to answer. Wednesday argues that her attempts to win over the normies are nothing but an illusion. The townsfolk despise outcasts, only tolerating them for the money they bring. Exhausted, Larissa ends the conversation and orders Wednesday out of her office. Meanwhile, deep in the forest, a homeless man is brutally killed by the monster. Soon after, Xavier is seen emerging from a mysterious place, a strange mark visible on his neck, as if he had been in a fight. He shuts the door firmly behind him. Elsewhere, Tyler relaxes in his bathroom, submerged in water, while in the hidden library, Miss Gates strides in with a confident air. At night, Wednesday sneaks into the morgue to learn more about the monster. There, she inspects the body of the latest victim and notices his leg has been severed, and 2 fingers are missing. She realizes the creature is collecting body parts with each kill. Returning to the academy, she is more determined than ever to uncover its secret. In this burning chapter of the tale, the threads of conspiracy tighten around Wednesday, weaving destinies into a dark dance of suspicion and blood. The story picks up with Xavier, whose body bears strange mark traces that echo the very monster haunting Wednesday in both vision and reality. When she sneaks into his hideout, she finds his drawings filled with images of the creature lurking everywhere, proof that suspicion is closing in on him. But when she steals the sketches and tries to escape, Xavier confronts her, and slyly or innocently suggests that he be her date to the upcoming dance. Wednesday plays along, agreeing with a cold smile. Though behind it, she conceals another plan. She is still bent on exposing the truth. Meanwhile, her loyal companion Eugene, the boy of bees, remains her only true ally, sheltering in his tiny world. Together, they pin up the monster sketches in his shed, tracing them to a cave he recognizes. Inside its silent stone walls, Wednesday discovers a broken claw-fresh evidence that fuels her doubts. Yet she remains torn between her instincts and Xavier's pleas. As he swears he is not the beast, but a victim of visions that manifest through his brush. As suspicions grow, the story barrels toward the big school dance, a storm of jealousy, betrayal, and blood disguised in gowns and music. Tyler enters the scene carrying a forged note Eugene wrote on Wednesday's behalf, leading him to believe her heart belongs to him. In a moment of confusion, Wednesday finds herself caught between Tyler and Xavier, all eyes fixed upon her. Meanwhile, deep in the forest, Eugene ventures alone, only to see the monster closing in on the cave. He doesn't know that his death has already been written in one of Wednesday's horrific visions. She races to save him, chasing fate itself, but arrives too late. Blood has already claimed him. The next day, the family visit weekend begins, clouded with old shadows. Wednesday confronts her parents, reopening the file of a decades-old murder for which her father was accused. But the truth they reveal only deepens the darkness. The man he killed had been an obsessed suitor of her mother, and Gomez insists it was nothing more than self-defense. Or so he claims. Yet Wednesday's heart whispers that part of the story still lies buried in shadow. Between the Academy's halls and the forest's depths, between burnt statues and buried secrets, the dance, the blood, and the old crime blur into one painting, stroked by the hand of a monster hiding among them. Perhaps Xavier, perhaps another. But one thing is certain: the truth is closing in, and the next step will tear the mask from the traitor's face. In town, Wednesday secretly follows her mother and discovers her visiting Garrett's grave, laying a flower upon it. Suspicion gnaws at Wednesday, driving her to dig deeper. She visits Eugene in the hospital, where he lies in a coma. His mother thanks Wednesday for befriending him, since he had always been so alone. Guilt weighs heavily on Wednesday, as she wishes she had been the one in his place. Later, she goes to Sheriff Galvin, telling him her father is not Garrett's true killer. She questions whether he doesn't find it strange that the coroner committed suicide just as Gomez returned to town. But the sheriff insists justice has already been served. Wednesday argues that someone is sabotaging her investigation and reveals the samples she had tested. To her shock, he says there's no match between them and the monster's claw. Furious, she accuses him of turning a blind eye, but he fires back that he knows she placed gum over the morgue camera to erase its footage. Then the sheriff drops a heavier truth. Gomez wasn't only responsible for Garrett's death. He caused the collapse of his entire family. Garrett's mother took her own life. His brother drank himself to death, and his sister also perished. Wednesday walks out, shaken but more determined than ever to uncover the truth. She asks her brother where their mother is, and he tells her she went off to be alone. Wednesday suspects Morticia is in the secret library, and indeed, she finds her there. Morticia confesses that she was once a member of the Nightshade Society, whose mission back then was to protect outcasts. She also reveals that the true founder was Goody Addams, one of their ancestors. Wednesday recalls seeing a drawing of her in her visions, and Morticia confirms that it was Goody who killed Mayor Joseph Crackstone in revenge for her family. Wednesday then voices her suspicions about Garrett, accusing her mother of being the one who killed him. Morticia admits it, but explains that Garrett was in a strange condition, his face pale, his mouth foaming, his eyes rolled white. Wednesday argues heatedly, insisting those are symptoms of poisoning. Stunned by the realization, mother and daughter decide to dig up Garrett's grave. Wednesday claws through the dirt until she uncovers a blue finger proof he died of poisoning before his confrontation with Gomez. but the police catch them red-handed. Wednesday is thrown in jail alongside her father. There, she clutches the finger and is seized by a new vision. Garrett riding in a carriage with his father, who forces him to prove his loyalty by murdering the outcasts at Nevermore. He hands Garrett a vial of poison, but it shatters in his pocket, seeping into his body and sealing his fate. After posting bail, Wednesday and Morticia take the evidence straight to the mayor. Wednesday presses him hard, accusing him of knowing the truth all along and falsifying the autopsy to cover up the crime. The mayor defends himself, claiming he only wanted to preserve peace between humans and outcasts. But Wednesday demands her father's release and a formal apology, both of which she secures with her cunning. Before they leave, Morticia opens her heart, confessing that she has never been the figure of trust in Wednesday's eyes. She reveals that she too has visions, but of the dove kind, seeing only the joyous and hopeful, while Wednesday belongs to the raven lineage, tied to grim, foreboding prophecies. Morticia warns her that no living soul can guide her in mastering them. Only her ancestors will appear when the time is right. Wednesday shudders when Morticia mentions that Goody has already reached out to her. Morticia warns her not to follow Goody's path, for it was vengeance that led to her ruin. Her mother gifts her an old yearbook from Nevermore and tells her to write her own story within its pages. As Wednesday flips through it, she uncovers photographs revealing that the ball's singer was entangled in Rowan's mysterious demise. She storms to Principal Weems with her discovery, but the headmistress scoffs at her theory, warning her not to expose her secret as a shapeshifter. Weems insists Rowan's father knew the truth, but chose silence to protect his son's reputation. And the schools. Wednesday fires back, accusing her of being no different from the mayor, burying bodies to keep skeletons hidden. Their argument is suddenly cut short by a strange glow in the night sky. Everyone rushes outside to see a blazing message burning above the school. Fire will reign. In a town shrouded by shadows, the stakes climb higher still. The headmistress summons both the sheriff and the mayor, demanding answers about who dared to carve this fiery omen. The mayor suspects a student is pulling the strings. At that moment, Wednesday makes a bold choice to summon the spirit of Goody Addams and sharpen her gift of sight. But just as the seance intensifies, Enid barges in, shattering the ritual. As silence settles, an anonymous hand slips a note beneath the door. Asterisk, if you want answers, go to Joseph's old meeting hall. Wednesday follows the trail, dragging her companions into what they expect will be a confrontation, only to be met with a surprise birthday party thrown by Xavier and his circle. Yet her heart remains untouched by joy, for her eyes land on the wall. The same fiery words, carved beside a portrait of Joseph Crackstone. She touches the image and is hurled into a vision. Goody stands before a towering mansion, urging her to find the place before Crackstone arrives. Wednesday insists she only came to learn, but Goody answers coldly. Asterisk, the raven knows only solitude. Its path is one of endless loneliness. The vision fades, and Wednesday is thrust back into reality. The next day, she sketches the mansion she saw and asks Tyler if he recognizes it. He doesn't, but uses the chance to invite her to his birthday dinner. She refuses and leaves. On the wall, the ominous words still loom. And from the shadows, Xavier steps forth, offering his help. But Wednesday, distant and unyielding, tells him to stay away. At the mayor's office, the man is seen digging into a mystery of his own. He seeks the death certificate of Laurel, Garrett's long-lost sister, though his reasons remain veiled in secrecy. Wednesday, cornered yet undeterred, turns to Xavier for help. She shows him her drawing, and he confesses he's seen the same mansion in his dreams. It lies deep within an abandoned forest, the very place where Garrett's family once lived. Wednesday realizes the mansion may be the key to the enigma. Meanwhile, another thread unfolds. A painting reveals Wednesday playing her cello, as Thing lingers in quiet awe before vanishing into the shadows. Resolute, Wednesday ventures to Garrett's mansion herself. Before she can enter, she spots the mayor leaving and ducks into hiding. She whispers for Thing to create a distraction, then slips into his car. From the shadows, she overhears his call with the sheriff. He claims he's uncovered the true mastermind and plans to meet him at Tyler's diner. But fate intervenes. Before he can arrive, a speeding car slams into him and flees. Stunned, Wednesday reports everything she saw and heard to the sheriff. Back at Nevermore, the headmistress locks Wednesday down as punishment, forbidding her from leaving campus. But Wednesday is already spinning a new scheme. She softens Enid with rare words of affection, convincing her to spend the day together. Enid agrees, fabricating an excuse for Weems. At the same time, Wednesday calls Tyler and accepts his dinner invitation. When Tyler arrives, Wednesday heads out with Enid by her side. But the truth of her plan is soon revealed. Dinner was never her goal. The mansion is. With Enid's lupine strength, they pry open the doors and step into its shadowed corridors. In the library, Wednesday finds a hidden switch. A secret altar reveals itself, bearing Joseph Crackstone's image and the fiery phrase once more. The candles are still warm. Someone was just there. She sends Tyler to search the ground floor while she and Enid climb upstairs. Suddenly, the monster appears, lunging with savage force. They scramble to escape, Wednesday clutching a box marked with the initials of Garrett's sister. Fleeing down a hidden elevator, they burst into the garage only to find the same car that struck the mayor, alongside mangled remains. Elsewhere, Xavier searches for Wednesday and realizes she's gone to the mansion. Events converge. She sees Tyler wounded, clawed by the beast, and Xavier arriving at the last moment to help. They rush to Tyler's home, only to find his father gravely injured as well. The trio delivers their evidence to the sheriff, but when they return, both the car and the bodies have vanished. The sheriff lays it bare. The true killer erased the evidence, the same hand that tried to murder the mayor. Then he turns to Wednesday with a chilling warning: interfere again, and she be the one behind bars. Wednesday returns to school, frustrated, only to be confronted by Principal Weems, who announces her impending expulsion. She reveals that the image Rowan had been obsessed with portrays Wednesday as a source of destruction. But Wednesday insists she is trying to save everyone, not destroy them. The principal seems to understand and decides to give her one last chance, on the condition that she obeys the rules from now on. When Wednesday enters her room, she finds Enid packing her things. She asks why, and Enid snaps in anger. Asterisk, you exploited my trust and put my life in danger. You're cold, calculating, and care only about your goal. Wednesday responds with her usual cold detachment. Asterisk, the case comes first. Enid's heart breaks, and she retorts bitterly. Asterisk, I thought you were my friend. A true friend doesn't need to be asked to sacrifice themselves. But you don't know what friendship means. Her words echo like an alarm bell in the heart of darkness. In a city where secrets crash like violent waves, Enid's solitude shatters in tears. She leaves, telling Wednesday to return to the isolation she claims to love. But for the first time, Wednesday finds herself trapped in her own solitude. Unable to endure the silence of her room, she reflects on those who had been around her and realizes that loneliness is no longer a refuge. The next morning, The town is shaken by the news of the mayor's death. Wednesday attends the funeral, but her eyes catch something suspicious. A figure watching her from the shadows of the forest. She chases it, only to discover it is Fester, her uncle, who has come specifically to help her. She recounts the details of the crime to him, and he takes her to Eugene's cabin. When he asks about the monster, she sketches its features. Fester shocks her with the truth. Its name is Hyde. He explains that to unravel its secrets, she must study Volker's memoirs in the Nightshade Library. They agree to venture out at night. Back at the school, she is surprised when Enid decides to return to her room and stay with her. Wednesday's heart brightens, though her pride keeps her from showing it. At night, she descends into the library and calls for her uncle. But another voice answers. It's Xavier. He questions her motives, and she refuses his interference. He asks pointedly, "Asterisk, do you still think I'm the monster?" She demands he explain his constant presence since Hyde disappeared. He grows angry and retreats, only for Fester to appear, revealing his supernatural ability to remain unseen. He opens a hidden safe in the wall and hands her the memoirs. Diving into the pages, Wednesday learns that Hyde is a naturally gifted artist with a vengeful streak, who can only manifest when released through psychological shock or hypnotism. Whoever frees him becomes his master, controlling him like a servant. Wednesday realizes her mission is no longer just to find the monster, but to confront both the monster and its master. She begins observing Xavier and finds him nervous as he leaves his studio. Following him, she sees him meeting with the town psychologist, who subjects him to hypnotic control. Shocked, Wednesday realizes the truth. The doctor is the one controlling him. She rushes to inform Principal Weems, but the doctor's presence blocks her. Angered, she leaves and meets Fester at Tyler's diner to share her suspicions. There, Tyler's father, the sheriff, intervenes to keep her away. It becomes clear that despite everything, Tyler wants to remain near her and invites her to a private dinner in the forest. On the night of the date, Tyler surprises her with an outdoor horror movie. The moment turns tense when the sheriff arrives, chasing a disguised thief. Wednesday realizes her uncle is the thief, using his ability to vanish. Upon returning, she is confronted with a shocking scene. Thing stabbed with a knife. The memoirs are gone with him. She carries her friend to her uncle, who saves him using his electric powers. Despite her tears, Wednesday steels herself, vowing revenge. She confronts the principal about the stolen memoirs, but Weems accuses her of fantasy. Wednesday retorts sharply, "Asterisk, human lives are more important than your school's reputation." The next day, Bianca takes her to the Nightshade Library, where they meet the mayor's son. He hands them the final report his father had been compiling. Before his death, a file. Laurel Gates, Garrett's sister. Everyone had assumed she drowned, yet her body was never found. It turns out the elderly woman who inherited the mansion had merely been a cover. Before dying, she left everything to her caretaker, who is, in fact, Laurel herself, returned for revenge. Wednesday rushes to the psychologist's office to confront her. The doctor denies everything, threatening to commit her. Wednesday smirks. "I only need 1 week to take control of your entire institution." She leaves, leaving the doctor paralyzed with fear. But a strange voice from the bathroom guides the doctor to her fate. The monster attacks, ending her life. Wednesday realizes the game is nearing its end. She monitors Xavier, studies his drawings, and finds a painting of the murdered doctor mounting evidence against him. The police arrest him, and Wednesday thinks she has finally found peace. She spends time with Tyler, grows closer, and shares her first kiss. Then a horrifying vision shatters her relief. Tyler is the monster. She sees the blood of his victims reflected in his eyes. Shocked, She flees, luring him into the forest. She admits she did not come alone. Then the Nightshade Society, led by Bianca, appears. They capture him. He tries to force transformation, but the group refuses violence. They decide to hand him over to the principal, who summons the sheriff. Just as Wednesday is about to strike him, the police intervene and arrest her instead. Tyler whispers in her ear, "I enjoyed every time I killed someone." Her world collapses. They decide to expel her from the school. She visits Gevia to apologize, but he refuses forgiveness. She packs her bag, ready to leave. Miss Gates comes to say goodbye, gifting her a small plant. Wednesday then visits Eugene in the hospital, who tells her, "I saw the reflection of the shoe. It was red." Wednesday calls the school and decides to return. In the laboratory, she confronts Mrs. Gates directly. Laurel. She pulls back the veil. The doctor was nothing but a pawn. The hidden hand that unleashed the monster is Laurel Gates herself. In the final chapter of this mysterious tale, Wednesday unveils a shocking secret that shakes the foundations of truth. She stands before Mrs. Gates, or Laurel in her true identity, and tells her that she knows how she exploited her control over the monster and returned in disguise to the city to use Tyler as her instrument of vengeance. Suddenly, Tyler appears beside Wednesday, and Gates orders him to act and finish her. But at the critical moment, the scene shifts. It is revealed that the figure is not Tyler, but Larissa, disguised as him. Wednesday is stunned, realizing that Gates is the hidden force behind all that has happened. Before she can apprehend her, Gates strikes with a poisonous substance, the same that took Garrett's life years ago. Wednesday collapses unconscious as events unfold rapidly outside the walls. Thing witnesses the scene and rushes to inform Enid, who transforms into the werewolf she had long feared to embrace, charging into battle alongside the Nightshade Society to save their school. Meanwhile, Eugene senses danger and decides to fight in his own way, while the sheriff drives with Xavier, determined to confront the threat. In an old meeting hall, Wednesday awakens chained before a dark summoning ritual. Gates opens Joseph, Crackstone's grave, and uses Wednesday's blood, a descendant of Judy, to bring him back to life. From the ashes rises Joseph, stronger, thirsting for revenge, declaring war on Nevermore. He stabs Wednesday in the abdomen, leaving her teetering between life and death. In a miraculous moment, Judy's spirit enters Wednesday, granting her the strength to confront the ancient evil. In the forest, the monster Tyler intercepts her, but Enid, having fully embraced her wolf form, strikes him down in a fierce battle, clearing the path for Wednesday. Wednesday faces Joseph with the sacred sword, as Judy once did, but his immense power shatters it, knocking her to the ground. Joseph tries to finish her, but Xavier intervenes with an arrow, followed by Bianca, who stabs him from behind. Joseph remains unscathed. At the last moment, Wednesday grabs a broken shard of the sword and drives it into his heart, turning him to ash, vanishing forever. Yet the danger is not over. Gates appears, weapon in hand, intent on killing Wednesday. But Eugene summons the swarm of bees with his power, attacking her. Gates falls under the force of nature she had long underestimated, and her conspiracy comes to an end. In the aftermath, the world learns the truth. Tyler is the real monster, and he is captured, while Xavier is cleared of all false charges. As everyone prepares to start anew, Wednesday decides to return to her city, having saved Nevermore and her friends, leaving behind a promise of a future still tinged with shadows. Thus ends the first installment, leaving the door slightly ajar for darkness to return once more. Don't forget to subscribe, tell us in the comments if you want to see the next session.